Welcome everybody to another Week 18 Running Through the Jungle Friday Night Pick'em Show with your boy Justin Lacey, wherever he's at. There, no, he's over here. No, he's over here. Justin Lacey and Tim Lyons from Running Through the Jungle. Justin, we had a pretty good week. We did okay last week. You went 10-6. I went 9-7. You're at 111-66. And I'm at 115-62. You're catching up with me. You're crawling it this week. This week could really put one of us ahead or behind because of the schedule of games and what starters are sitting and what starters are playing. And there's some games in here that they're not even going to play their starters more than likely. But Justin, happy New Year's, buddy. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. And as far as like the pointing in the direction go, man, I always think that it's funny because the live stream doesn't always happen in the way that when we look at it on a playback later if you're watching it on YouTube. So, but no, man, I'm doing phenomenal, man. The holiday season has been great. Your boy got engaged. So
congratulations, bro.
Oh yeah, man. I'm absolutely thrilled. I definitely proposed to the lady on New Year's Eve night. It was definitely one to remember. So I'm absolutely excited. Now her and I, we're going to be in wedding planning mode for the entirety of 2026. A lot of great things to look forward to. Got a new promotion at work, so I'm also looking forward to that as well for the start of this year. Yeah, I'm really starting off 2026 with a bang. And also, too, the end of the regular season is coming up, which means that my even more favorite time of the year is here. I know I love the holidays, but I also love NFL playoff football. That is my favorite time of the season because football just matters so much more. And you can anything can truly happen during playoff football. Now, we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge. But as far as like the pick'em slates go, yeah, it's going to be tough. It was like tough sledding for a little while there. We've kind of, waddled our way through the season. And even on the back end stretch of certain games that we had, it was tough because injuries played a factor into it. The who wants in more factor played into it as well, too. And now we're at the stage where, man, some teams are already calling it quits on the year. Some still has to be able to play for division championships. We'll get into Baltimore and Pittsburgh, the AFC North Championship game. You
AFC
also got
South
the
NFC
South.
NFC South.
Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, the NFC South.
The NFC West.
Man, the NFC West still is up for grabs. Like there is still some games to be determined and to be had here. So yeah, man, it's going to be exciting times, man. Which it's going to be real interesting in how these games are going to go as far as pick'ems go, man. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to go right into it, bro. If you are.
Well, I just want to say congratulations. My wife told me to tell you congratulations as well. Congratulations. And I want to give a congratulations out to my wife also because she's been putting up with me. This is our 17th year anniversary today. So congratulations, honey. I'm glad that you decided to put up with me for all these years and in 100 years to come. But also, my wife's over here cracking. I wish you guys could hear her, but she's a kick. She's a hoot. But
you can hear a little bit in the background, by the way. That was awesome.
Yeah, she's funnier than hell. But Afton, hello, welcome. Afton tells you congratulations, Justin.
Thank you.
Austin Art in the house. Hello, everyone. Time to do some NFL Pick'em show. Afton, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And Austin, thank you so much as well. It's a wonderful life when you have somebody that you can love and live with for the rest of your life. So, but let's get into it. Let's get all the mushy stuff out of here. Let's get into business. Let's get into what you guys are here for, not just to look at to look at my ugly face and Justin's pretty face. But let's get into it. Our first game of the week, Saturday game at 4:25. The Dolphins 7-9 and the 13-3 New England Patriots. It's a 45.5 over under, 11.5 point spread. Now I would assume that the Patriots are going to be sitting their starters, Justin. But Justin, you know what? I'm gonna let you go ahead and pick off first because you know you finally took that step and you finally gave your girl that ring. But I'm gonna let you go ahead and start off first. Who are you taking? Dolphins or the Patriots?
Yeah, man, this is going to be one of those games where it's like I would not trust betting the New England Patriots in this spot. I did like what I seen from the Miami Dolphins last week with Quinn Ewers, believe it or not. I think that they went into I can't even remember if they played that game against the Bucs last week at home. But it goes to show you that Quinn Ewers and the rest of that team, they just needed another game. They just needed a game under their belt. The Bengals were a bad matchup for them, it seemed like. And the Bengals really posed a lot of problems, especially considerable how much better the Bengals defense have gotten. And I think that they just wasn't really ready to see the adjustment, especially starting a rookie quarterback that week. But the Bucs has just been a team that they just were melting down. And it almost just felt like that the opportunity was had where the Dolphins smelled blood in the water, and to seize it was something that they did. And they played hard. And I think that they are ready to play hard in this game. As far as New England goes, this is a game that this means absolutely nothing to them. They already got the AFC East on lock because the Bills lost last week to the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Patriots have officially won the AFC East with that. And so now they can truly rest all of their starters. I think we might see Drake May and some of the starters on offense and defense for maybe a few drives, maybe for a quarter to get their footings together. This is still a divisional opponent. I'm sure that they don't like each other, but I'm not ready to say that the Patriots are at this premier stage, even though their record may indicate that they might be an elite team. But I still don't really fully trust that. I've seen better teams over the last 5 years that are better than this Patriots team. I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. I really do. And I think that the Dolphins are still trying to play and vie for at least pride at this point. I don't know what their future is going to hold for them, but I do think that they may win this game. Now, in this spread, 11.5, if that was the starters playing for New England, I'm obviously picking the Patriots. Right. Obviously picking New England. But I think that I'm ready to say that the Dolphins are trying to look for momentum to close out the year. I don't know whether Mike McDaniel's going to be back, but I think it's a good kind of way to sort of like send the fans home happy kind of thing. A lot like what we were saying about our Cincinnati Bengals. I think then that instant can apply to the Miami Dolphins here in this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And just to let you know, my old ass messed this one up. This is actually a Sunday 4:25 game, but since Justin already picked the Dolphins to win, I'm going to go right along with you. And I agree. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game, just because this Patriots game really means nothing at all. And I'm so sorry, everybody, that I went out of order. We were actually supposed to, and I'm picking the Dolphins as well. Actually, I'm so sorry. This is my error. Tim wasn't paying attention. Tim's kind of, little foggy brain today, I guess.
He's still coming off of that hangover from New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We haven't recovered fully. I know I haven't.
So actually, the first Saturday game is at 4:30. It's the Panthers and the Buccaneers. The Panthers are 8-8, and the Buccaneers are 7-9. There's a 43.5 over under. It's a 3-point spread, Justin. This Panthers team and this Buccaneers team have been, just bad. They really have. They've been bad. And I think I'm going to pick the team that's going to win this division. And I believe it's going to be the Panthers. I don't know, man. The Buccaneers have seemed to, like we've said before, they started off hot, real hot, and then they've been taking steps backwards. And it's just like, what the hell are the Buccaneers doing? So I'm picking the Panthers for the Saturday game, the first Saturday game. Justin, who the hell are you taking?
And it was the NFC South showdown. And this is not now the Saints and the Falcons play later on in this weekend. That still has implications to where the Bucs need the Saints to win. And I think that there is still some sort of varying degree of the Falcons could still they're out of it, but like it's just weird how that messed up. Because at first when I looked at this game, I was thinking like this should have been the Sunday night game for the division crown, but that's Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and we'll obviously talk about that later. But in terms of this game, let's just call it what it is. This is the NFC South Championship game. And between the two teams, the team that I am riding the momentum wave the most is the Carolina Panthers. But something just tells me, we've seen this in 2022. The Panthers and the Buccaneers were facing in the same exact spot. It was Tom Brady's basically final regular season game. That team, the Bucs in 2022, was not good at all in Brady's final year. But you bet on them because it's Tom Brady. And they won that game basically because it's Tom Brady and Mike Evans. They were down 2 scores in that game early. I remember that. I feel somewhat very similar in this game when it comes to the Buccaneers. I am not a believer in Baker Mayfield and company in this offense moving forward. But for some reason, it's just gnawing at me to pick them in this spot to officially win the NFC South crown. I want to see the Panthers to win. I'll be honest right now. I want to see Carolina to win this game. And Bryce Young and the Panthers, they've been very momentum-like. I mean, they've built a lot of momentum over the last few weeks. Now, I know that they lost last Sunday, but I think that they've been playing really damn good football, and they've been really playing hard for their coach. Now, every game hasn't been a win. Every game hasn't looked pretty for them, of course, yes. But they've taken that progressive next step that you want to see a second-year head coach do for a team that has just been bad over the last 4 years. Really, since Cam Newton departed from that team. That team that looked lifeless. They look like a shell of themselves of a franchise. And now they're finally on the upswing of things where their future looks so bright. But I think I'm going to ride the experience here of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this spot. And I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but I just got this just gut in my body that everything that I felt about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is exactly what you said. I don't trust them at all moving forward, and I don't want to pick them in this spot. But I do think that it can be one of those weird victories that they'll get just to be able to claim the NFC South title and then maybe lose round 1 in the playoffs. That's what I think is going to be the case for real. So I guess a long way of saying I'm going to pick Tampa. I don't like it. I'm kind of like on the fence. Like I probably should have leaned in the same direction as you, but you know it is week 18. Who gives a damn? I don't care. Let's do it. Let's be different.
Yeah, and like I said, this week is going to be for you and I. It's going to be who's going to is somebody going to pull away, or are you going to catch up and take the lead, or am I going to win by one pick? And this is the week because honestly, we don't know what's going to happen. So, but yeah, Panthers I picked the Panthers, you picked the Bucks. Next one up, and this is a huge game for here in Seattle. Like my mother-in-law, it's her birthday on January 3rd. It's her birthday, and we were going to take her out to dinner and take her to the casino, and she was like, "No, I'm staying home. I'm watching this football game." So that's huge. So we have the Seahawks that are 13-3 versus the 12-4 49ers. It's a 47.5 over under, 2.5 point spread. And if I remember correctly, the first time the Seahawks and the 49ers won, or the 49ers met, the 49ers won that game, if I'm correct on that. So the Seahawks have to win this. They honestly have to win this game, because if they lose this game, the 49ers take the division. But Justin, with this being such a huge game, who are you picking?
I'm going with Seattle, man. I still think that Seattle's a more complete team than San Fran. I was very impressed with the showcase and the effort that the 49ers put out there on display against the Chicago Bears last weekend. That game was so fun to watch. Like, it was just a score fest back and forth. And I just feel like that, man, I wish this game could continue going even now, just deep in overtime, but there could have been a double overtime. It was just that impressive of the scoring spree that both of them have it. It was really no defense, but Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy was just absolutely just playing out of their minds. They almost like brought out the best within each other in that game. But I think that, man, Seattle, they're just a complete team for me. And I know that they're on the road in this, but they're still on the West Coast. It's not an unfamiliar territory for them. It may not be the 12th man in Seattle, but I still trust the Seahawks to be able to pull off the win in this manner here. So yeah, let me go Seattle, bro.
Yeah, so you mentioned that, this is a West Coast game. It's not like, Seahawks are flying to Tampa Bay to play the 49ers or anything. So it's right up and down the coast. Weather-wise, I don't know how weather's going to be. I know there's been a lot of rain in California. We saw at the Rose Bowl yesterday in Pasadena, a lot of rain. So I don't know if there's going to be rain tomorrow night in Santa Clara or not. That could take effect. But as I was saying, that 49ers and Bears game, there was zero defense. Zero defense was being played. Mm-hmm. And that's the factor of this football game is going to be defense, because the Seahawks have a better defense than the 49ers do. I don't care what anybody says. Between the Seahawks and the Rams in this NFC West division, they have the best defenses. All right. Seahawks have a better defense than the 49ers. The Seahawks or the 49ers suffered Fred Warner going out. They also Nick Bosa going out. So they're two big top stars. They're not there. They've been playing good ball. They've been playing really good ball. Their defense is stepped. Their defense has stepped up. The next man up. Just stood up and they started winning football games again, and they were just kept winning games. So
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead and make your pick, because I want you to make your pick, because I thought you were already going. I thought you were going the same direction. But no, go ahead, because I got something to say about the 49ers after you make your pick, though.
Yeah, so you have the 49ers that have CMC and Brock Purdy and the rest of the gang, but I still have faith that the defense for the Seahawks they're going to play better football. And that being said, I'm picking the Seahawks over the 49ers. I think this is going to be a 3-point game, a 4-point game. It's not going to be a blowout. Seahawks haven't been really, when they're playing against good opponents, they're determined by 1 point to 3 points. So in that case, like I said, I'm taking the Seahawks. Justin, go ahead and finish what you were going to say, bud.
Yeah. No, it's just, honestly, I want to give credit to about the 49ers, man, because withstanding the amount of injuries that they have regarding that defensive side of the ball, you already mentioned Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. There's other guys as well too. It was a patchwork of defense for a while, and still manage 12 wins up to this point is impressive. What a hell of a coaching job by Kyle Shanahan. We know that he is probably not going to be in a running for NFL Coach of the Year, but this is one of his better coaching jobs of managing the roster and the talent that's on his team. He also didn't have Brock Purdy for a good chunk of the season.
Jones. With his team. Mac Jones steps up and just wins phenomenal job, games. Bro. Yeah.
And you didn't also have Brandon Ayuk, and you dealt with the contract debacle and the talk with him during the all season. He hasn't really did shit at all because he didn't play snap. He was injured. He was out for the whole year. So again, one hell of a management roster job and a coaching job by Kyle Shanahan. The 49ers are one heck of a front office and one of a higher class organization. I wish that the Bengals would operate a little bit more in the same light, but again, this is not a Bengals show right now. But this is also why I said, if you're the 49ers losing this game, it's not going to matter much to you, because they'll probably settle you in at the 5 seed, and the 5 seed goes on the road to the 4th seed. And I kind of like their chances against the Bucs or the Panthers anyway. So I mean, it's not all doom and gloom if you don't win this game. If you're San Francisco, it might set you up for an even better showdown later on, because Seattle, again, I like them. They probably might be the number 1 seed, but at the end of the day, man, I wouldn't want to see the San Francisco 49ers again in the playoffs, man, because that's the team that has the most experience when the playoffs do come about. So that's all I wanted to say about that part.
Yeah, and I know when I was watching the 49ers and Bears game, they were saying that Fred Warner was trying to come back by the division playoff game. So
and I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, if that happens, woo-wee. But anyways, let's get into the next game. The next game is the Cleveland Browns versus our beloved Cincinnati Bengals. 4-12 Cleveland Browns, 6-10 Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns are coming into Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati. 44.5 over under 7.5 point spread. I could easily tell you, what? We ain't going to tell you who we're going to pick here, because we already know who we picked. If you were watching Running Through the Jungle on Tuesday night with your host, Brandon Harriet, Justin Lacey, and Tim Lyons, you already know who we picked to win this game. But I'm not going to be an asshole. I picked the Bengals over the Browns, of course. Justin, I'm not spending a lot of time on this game, because if you guys want to know what we actually said about the Cincinnati Bengals, and you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan here, go watch our Running Through the Jungle podcast on Tuesday, or you go on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all that podcast world. Go over there and listen to us. But Justin, who did you pick? Go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, I went with the Bengals as well, too. It's that classic send them home happy game to where the final 3 games, they'll notch 3 victories and promote false hope that, hey, we got a bright future moving forward, even though the fans don't feel good about the front office and maybe even the coaching staff. We feel good about the talent of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, obviously, and then some young ascending players there. But at the end of the day, bro, we're not buying into this dead cat bounce of 3 straight victories to close out the regular season. And if you also ask me, to be perfectly honest with you, I would not be surprised if the Browns were to win this game too. I think that if I were a betting man, I will bet the Bengals to win, but the Browns to cover that 7.5 in the point spread. But personally for me, the Browns are going to just go after one thing, and that's just chasing after Myles Garrett's sack record. If he gets that sack record early enough in this game, then all it's going to be is just Shedeur, air it out. Do whatever, like this is your moment here to be able to showcase if you want this job in moving forward or not. And I still don't believe right now in this Bengals defense that they can hold in everybody into the manner that they have these last couple of weeks. They can still get beat. So that's why I got the Bengals winning, but the Browns potentially covering this game.
Yeah, and I agree about, the Bengals defense has been playing fairly well against bad quarterbacks these last couple games. So, who knows if Shedeur Sanders wants to air it out, I'm sure DJ Turner or Jordan Battle or, Geno Stone or somebody will be happy to catch that interception. So you go ahead and air it out.
Geno Stone, he probably could catch an overthrow pick, but I don't even trust Geno Stone to save my life. He ain't tackling nobody. Dak Hill, though, that was the name I was waiting for you to mention because he's been pretty good the last few weeks as well. All right.
Yeah. All right. So next game up is the 8-8 Colts versus the 11-5 Texans. 38.5 over under, a 10-point game, Justin. Who you picking, man? Colts coming into Texas.
I'm going with the Texans. This is going to be pretty easy for me. Riley Leonard's the one that's starting that quarterback. I think they're done with the Phillip Rivers experiment. He's done for the year. He's done. He's already gave a speech to say, like, look, that was probably his last game ever now. Yeah. It was entertaining for those 3 games, even though they didn't even get a win after that whole entire time. But look, it was fun to watch Phillip Rivers like it was 2007 all over again. And I appreciate that he showed the grit and the mental toughness to be able to come out of retirement after not playing a single snap of football for 5 years. But now you got Riley Leonard, the former Notre Dame quarterback. And I think that a tough test is going to be due for him going on the road at Houston, who is still jockeying for a playoff position. And now they haven't locked up the AFC South, but they still are jockeying for that, either the 5, the 6, or the 4, the 5. I'm sorry, the 5, the 6, or the 7 seed, wherever that stacks up. So they're not out of the woodworks yet. You still got the Chargers, you still got the Buffalo Bills, and the Houston Texans. They're still fighting for who's going to get the better spot, because at the end of the day, those 3 teams want the number 5 seed because they want to go against the winner of the AFC North, which has been a terrible division this whole entire season in the first round of the playoffs. So, the Texans are going to win this game pretty handily and pretty comfortably.
Yeah, this is another one that you and I are going to agree with because, I watched Riley Leonard play for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. He has a lot. This game, he's going to face a lot of pressure, and he's not one of those guys that likes to sit in the pocket. He'll get happy feet and run around. And the Texans defense is probably, I'm going to say, is probably the best defense in the league. That's how well they're playing. It's funny I think the Texans started off 0-3, 0-4, whatever the hell it was, and then they came back and just started 0-3 and just started kicking everybody's ass. That being said, I'm taking the Texans over the Colts because I'm sorry, Riley Leonard and Jonathan Taylor and Pittman and whoever else you got out there, you guys are going to get your ass kicked. So I'm going with the Texans on this game. Next one up. What time? How are we looking at time?
We can do a couple more, and then we can go to
We'll
break.
do these next. We'll do these next two, and then take a break. Next one up: the 7-8-1 Cowboys versus the 3-13 Giants. 49.5 over under, 3.5 point spread. Justin, I ain't wasting time on these two trash teams that have no hope, no future. They're going to be one and done after this. They're playing this game and they're going to hell home. I'm picking the Cowboys over the Giants. Justin, who you taking?
Ditto. I don't even need to expand anymore. Yeah, we moving on. Yeah, we moving on. It'll be funny though if the Giants were to all of a sudden want to play football now, and then they beat the Cowboys, and it's like, oh well, we should have analyzed this game a little bit more. But again, this is that Week 18 where the Giants, who already lost out on the number 1 overall pick, yeah, I think that they want to just slot themselves into a top 5 overall pick, and they're going to get it. Cowboys, they're obviously the better team, so yeah, Dallas for sure.
All right, next one. My buddy Donalo in the chat said Rivers' era ended when he left LA.
Oh, okay. The Chargers cut him. So I remember that they cut him. And it was actually, I feel like the Rivers' era ended when he left, when San Diego, the Chargers left San Diego and went to LA. They haven't had the same kind of vibe since, but yeah.
All right, next one up, Packers 9-6-1 versus the 8-8 Vikings. 1 o'clock game, 37.5 over under, 9.5 point spread. I hear that Jordan Love is back. Mm-hmm. I also heard that the Packers signed Diggs, who was released from the Cowboys earlier this week. Mm-hmm. The Vikings, I don't know. If I was the Vikings, I'd just be like, I'm sitting on my starters and just going to finish out this season because their JJ McCarthy experience has been over for a long time. But since Jordan Love is back on Sunday versus the Vikings, man, and they're playing in Minnesota, bro, I'm picking the Vikings over the Packers. Justin, who are you taking?
If you're the Packers, you need to play well in this game before the playoffs start because you need some momentum. That game the prior week against the Ravens, it was ugly for them.
It was.
I get it. They were playing really well with Malik Willis because Malik was really doing his thing, man, running the ball, scrambling, throwing some nice touch passes here and there. But Tyler Huntley was playing like a good backup quarterback too. And now I predicted the Ravens to win that game, as I said, because I just felt that the offense would have formulated a game plan surrounding Derrick Henry in that one. And I just felt like that the Ravens are built to win certain times like this. And the Packers, their momentum they were losing it here. And so they need to win. They need to play well in this game. Does that mean that they're going to win? I don't know. Because I also think this is the stage to where if Brian Flores wants to get a head coaching job next year, this is going to be the game that they're going to want to kind of put their clamps on as far as like, yeah, this is why you're the head coach. Look, I shitted on JJ McCarthy for a good chunk because that whole alter ego 9 thing is just a real big ass cringe. And I don't want to hear that shit again. But I will say this though. He hasn't been horrible. And it's not like that the team around him has been bad. They were just a team that like I got so sick and tired of being burned by them when I picked them. And I just stopped wanting to pick them out of just pure spite. But like when you really kind of, peel back the onion in those layers of how they looked on film and looked on tape, I can see some good stuff here. I can easily see the Vikings winning this game too. But I think the Packers just need to be able to play well in this game. So yeah, I'll go with the split here and go the opposite direction and go with Green Bay in this game here. I need to catch up anyway, so might as well just be different and pick on the other side of the fence. And yeah, I'm interested in seeing how Jordan Love looks when he is coming back into the fold of things.
All right. Well, let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with you guys. 1 second. Where's my damn media at? Justin, this thing irritating the hell out of me.
I got it. Well, first of all, before we go to break, I just popped up that little indication there to like and subscribe for us, please. And at the same time, we'll be right back. And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NFL Friday Night NFL Pickup Show. See, this time, like normally, what I do is I mute my mic, and then Justin yells at me and goes, "Tim, your mic's muted." Well, guess what, mother? My mic wasn't muted, and I'm back. So let's get back into it. Let's roll right into it. We're going with the Saints and the Falcons. Saints are 6-10. The Falcons are 7-9. 44.5 over under 3.5 point spread. Justin, Bijan Robinson went off on Monday night.
Yeah, right.
He went in fuego. Like, you remember NBA jams? If we had NFL jams, Bijan would have been on fire. Who you picking?
Man, damn. Yeah, it's really hard to not pay attention what the Falcons did on Monday night. That was impressive. I mean, was it Monday night or
it was Monday night.
It was Monday night. Yeah, Monday night, yeah. Because we both had the Rams in that game. And I was really taken back by how the Rams looked on defense. They couldn't cover Bijan. They wasn't able to tackle him. I finally felt like Bijan's talent was always there. But that's the first time that I officially felt, okay, he's the next big time running back in the NFL that's going to take over as the best in the league. Yeah, it went from Derrick Henry. Now Derrick Henry's still there. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, they're still there. But as far as like that, who's going to be the next face to kind of take over as the big dog? For me, it's Bijan. It was clearly on display. And that 93-yard touchdown run when he broke a couple of tackles and then just went up the middle, his foot speed was just insane. Yeah. I was like, man, like normally a lot of guys run out of gas on a long run like that. Right. It's almost like he kept speeding up. Like there was no hope for anybody to catch this dude. And then those jump cuts that he make, that's so sharp. And I broke a couple of ankles and I was just watching them. And just because I was like, I knew that if I would have tried to tackle that dude, man, I would have been in the hospital needing to get 2 ankle replacements. Because this dude is really good at that. That's his special. That you can tell that's his calling card. That's his specialty. All the great running backs has that kind of that thing that they can sort of point to as like what makes him special. For Bijan is that move. So yeah, man. I know the Buccaneers got to win, and the reason why I see why they need to play that game first, because they kind of need the Falcons to lose. Problem is though, I don't think the Falcons are going to lose anymore. I think that Kirk Cousins has righted the ship a little bit for this Falcons offense. He ain't doing nothing special. He's still the same average washed up Kirk Cousins, but he's doing exactly what you need him to do. Just get his playmakers the ball, hand the ball off to Bijan. And you know what? Kyle Pitts is getting involved too. Now for the Saints though, I will say this. They've been pleasantly, surprisingly fun to watch with Tyler Shuck at quarterback. Yep. And I don't believe that he may not be the future, but I do think that they have quietly strung together some momentum that you can probably look to build on some things, because that team still has to offload some dead cap salaries going into the next offseason just to be able to get back under the cap again. This is going to be one of those weird, entertaining, and intriguing games that ultimately will mean nothing for both teams because they're going to be out of the playoffs. But I think it's going to be one of those truly fun to watch environments to where I think that you're going to want to get your popcorn ready. And this could be a game for next year in the slate of maybe for the NFC South. So I'm going to go with the Falcons for now. I think that they're playing too inspiring of football throughout this whole entire time for me to not pick them. And I think that the Saints have a bright future ahead of them. Maybe not like super bright like the Carolina Panthers, but I think that their future could be on the upswing going into next year, amidst that they make a few changes or a few new different personnel moves. But yeah, man, all in all, man, I'll give it to the Falcons as well for this one here.
Yeah, I know we were actually just talking about the Saints today. We were a couple. I have an old Army buddy that I play Madden franchise with, and then another one of our buddies that who's a veteran also. But we like to talk about football. They're both Steelers fans, but they kind of hung up the cleats on the whole Steelers thing. But we were talking about the Saints, and the Saints are promising. They are. I think they're promising. I know you made the comment of Shuck or whatever his name is he might not be the future. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. He could be, and then the Saints also picked up Audric Estime from the Broncos, who was Notre Dame's last year's or the year before, actually.
2 years. It was a few years ago.
2 years,
at this
2
point.
years ago. Hell of a running back. He actually lightened it up over there and with the Saints. And I know Cameron. Damn it, what's his last name? The defensive end for the Saints.
Cam Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't think of his last name for some reason. I know he's getting a little bit long in the tooth, but they look promising. I think if they keep building, they keep going on the path that they're going, they might be challenging for that division next year. But we're talking about this year. The Falcons, they have the best player on the field, Bijan Robinson. That defense played lights out. I don't care what you say. They played lights out football against MVP Matt Stafford. They really did. They played great defense. Jesse Bates played great. Xavier Watts from Notre Dame played great football. That whole team played great football on the defensive side of the ball. And, since I'm a run the damn ball type of guy, I'm going with Bijan Robinson and the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Saints. So, next one. Go ahead, bud.
I said, all right, listen. Yeah, we're both on the same wavelength with that one there.
Yeah. Next one up, the 3-13 Titans versus the 12-4 Jaguars. 47.5 over under 13.5 point game. Man, I'm picking the Jaguars over the Titans all day, every day. I don't care what nobody says. They're playing good football, and I don't know if they're sitting any starters or anything. They might maybe play the first half and then sit them for the rest of sit them in the fourth quarter. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen there? Depends on how bad they're beating the Titans. But the Titans have, they have those 3 wins. They never know. You never know what might happen. But I'm going to pick the Jaguars because I think the Jaguars are going to win this game. They're going to get ready for that playoffs next week. Justin, who are you taking?
Well, they still have a chance at the number 1 seed, or at least to lock in the 2 seed, depending on what happens to Denver and New England in their respective games. We already picked the Patriots to lose against the Dolphins. If the Patriots lose against the Dolphins and the Broncos lose against the Dolphins and the Jaguars win, they're the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So they still have something to play for. But also at the end of the day, they also still got to make sure that they win this game to officially crown themselves AFC South champions, because the Houston Texans are still going to be playing to win that game. And if they win that game and the Jacks fumble and lose, then, yeah, they're going to lose the division, unfortunately, because both teams will be 12-5. And then what a heroic type of effort that Houston has made up to that point to get to basically just get all the way, start off from 0-3 and win the AFC South at that point. But I don't think that's going to happen. The Titans, while I do believe in Cam Ward for moving forward, they got a lot of work. And I also did see that they put out there in their front office, their ownership put out how they want to delegate the duties between their general managers and stuff like that. So that way there's clear delineation of roles assigned. I just saw that they put that out there today. So kudos to them from already kind of putting out there something that just shows the direction of where they're headed to. But it ain't going to lead them to a victory this upcoming week. The Jags still got something to play for. This is easy notch for the Jags to get a dub here. Crown them AFC South champions. They're at home. T-shirt and hats game. Get ready for the playoffs.
All right. And speaking of Jacksonville, so I just because we're already on Jacksonville, I'm already thinking about Jacksonville winning their division, wrapping this bad boy up. Next week we have the playoffs starting, and we're gonna have a special guest who is a big Jacksonville Jaguars fan. I ain't gonna tell you who it is. You're gonna have to come back next week, and you'll see who that guest is. But next one up, we got the 3-13 Arizona Cardinals versus the 11-5 Rams. 46.5 over under 8.5 spread. Justin, who you taking?
Yeah, the Cardinals looked dead against the Bengals last week, didn't they?
They looked awful.
Yeah, they looked that bad. And I've kind of like given Jacoby Brissett some flowers a bit for at least keeping the offense functional, and
Right.
they looked productive and they looked somewhat sound. And it didn't look like that they were spinning their tires. But again, I think it also says more about Cincinnati and what they were trying to do, and more so than what the Cardinals were able to do against them. But this is not going to
Yep.
get any easier for them, man. The Cardinals are
Yep.
not going to beat the Rams. The Rams also got to win this game.
Mhm.
Again, they're still not out of the NFC West, but it's very clear and evident that their chances of winning that division is going to be absolutely none if they don't pull off this victory. So they got to win this game. I think that they do win this game, but I think that as much as I've still believed in the LA Rams to at least do something, even make a playoff push, I think the division is out of their hands now at this point. So I'll give me the Rams easily, and an easy kind of like clean sweep victory here. They may even rest starters when it gets to the fourth quarter, just because they already know that this is about done and over with.
Yeah, we give Jacoby Brissett a lot of credit, but a lot of those yards were during garbage time versus the Bengals. I don't care what anybody says. That's the only reason why McBride ended up with the touchdown and his 100-yard receiving crap. But I don't think that the Rams are going to take pity on these guys on Sunday. The Rams, they lost last week. Didn't they lose the week before? Or they lost the week before too to the Seahawks. I'm taking the Rams. I think the Rams are going to be coming out there angry. Puka's going to be, taking that Hawaiian pineapple juice, drink that's going to make him strong, and he's going to go out there and just try to lighten it up. But I'm right there with you, man. I'm taking the Rams over the Cardinals, definitely. Next one up, we have the 11-5 Chargers versus the 13-3 Broncos. To 37.5 over under 12. Wow. 12.5 point spread. What the hell's up with that? Are both teams
Justin Herbert's not playing. Herbert's not playing in this game.
So he's not playing in this game. Is Bo Nix playing in this game?
There's a potential chance that he is, because again, the Broncos still have a chance at the number 1 seed. And if they win this game and the Patriots lose, then they're the number 1 seed. So there's still an opportunity here for Denver in this shot. And the Jaguars also need to lose too for the Broncos to get the number 1 seed.
Right.
But I think that they'll be at 14 wins. And Jacksonville, even though they beat Denver already, the Jaguars will be put at 13 wins versus the Broncos 14. So I guess it doesn't really matter at that point. But I guess that Denver wants to still keep pace with the for the number 1 seed to get a first round bye. And the Chargers don't look like they're going to be playing Justin Herbert. He's got that back injury, shoulder injury, he been get beat up. He has a bad offensive line ravaged by injuries, to the point where, all right, dog, you need to probably sit this one out for this week. You already got a clear playoff spot. I can see why the spread line is this here.
Okay, well, that makes sense. And our local, I'll say, Chargers fan, he's not really a local Chargers fan, but he is a Chargers fan. He said, already said that the all-starters are out. No Mac, no Allen, no McConkey, no Herbert. That being said, definitely I'm going to roll with the Broncos as well to win this game.
Same.
Justin, you're taking the Broncos as well?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Even if they were to play all their starters, I still kind of like Denver in this spot. Now, the Chargers were one of the few teams that gave the Broncos a loss this year, but I think that Denver, where they are at right now, and trying to get some momentum, even going into the playoffs, potentially playing for the bye, I still would have liked them regardless. But you can't go against them right now, especially with all that's happening with Denver at this point. So easy.
Yeah. All right. Next one up, and look at there. We both picked the Broncos. We got 6 games left. We got at least one game. Actually, one game that doesn't mean shit. So let's get to that one. The 6-10 Chiefs versus the 2-14 Raiders. 36.5 over under 5.5 point spread. Justin, I'm not wasting any time on this dumpster fire, but I'm going to say the Chiefs win. That quarterback that the Chiefs have playing right now did a hell of a job. He didn't look bad at all. And that being said, I'm taking the Chiefs over the Raiders. Justin, who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs, too. The Raiders already got the number 1 overall pick locked up, and they got to still keep losing games. And this is the final game of the regular season. So, and I've already pegged them to get the number 1 overall pick before we got to this point, and now they've officially got it. The Chiefs just get a pretty much an easy dummy win against divisional foe on the road. So yeah, I guess so. Nothing much to it though. Nothing much to it at all. Like
it's done.
I will say too, man. It's been a hell of a fun time watching Travis Kelce throughout this past decade and a half of watching Travis Kelce play football. The dude is absolutely electric. He's obviously a for surefire Hall of Famer. When he walked off the field at Arrowhead, when it was the final time potentially there, yeah, man, I was kind of sitting back reflecting. Like, look, man, no matter how you feel as a fan or not a fan of the Chiefs and all of them playing, winning those Super Bowls and whatnot, and no matter how you feel about the Chiefs, that guy is a legend, and he is rightfully earned his place in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as one of the greatest tight ends to ever do it. So, and you got to send him on. You got to send him out a winner, even though he already got 3 chips and he got Taylor Swift, so he already won at life already. So, but the Chiefs are going to win this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if Travis Kelce does walk away from the game, I'm sure we'll miss him, but we won't miss him when they play against the Bengals. He's had a great career. But a part of me, I feel like, and I know kind of going off subject here, we're not really sticking to the schedule, which is fine because it's our show. We can do whatever the hell we want to do. But I feel like Travis Kelce's not done. I don't know why. I just have that feeling that he's not done. So, and I might be wrong. I don't care. I've been wrong before, and I'll admit it when I am wrong. But Travis Kelce, he's a first-round Hall of Famer. For a first-round ballot Hall of Famer. There's tight ends that even say this as well. So, and we're talking about Gonzalez is one of them that's saying that he thinks that Travis Kelce is better than him. So that's some big words, big words. So
I agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah, but anyways, next one up, get back on track. We got the Commanders 4-12 versus the 11-5 Eagles, 38.5 over under 4.5 point spread. I'm so tired of seeing this fly Eagles fly crap. And I've already told you guys this. I got zero faith in the Eagles.
What?
Are the Eagles resting people this game? Are they starting their starters? Justin, maybe you can convince me of not doing something stupid here. Who are you picking?
Something stupid here. Do not do something stupid here and pick against the Eagles. They're obviously the clear-cut better team than the Commanders. They literally just beat them 2 weeks ago. Like, they just did it. And yes, I obviously know that this is a week-to-week league. Anything can change at any given moment. But the Eagles are a playoff team. I think that they won the division now. I think that they have officially won the NFC East last week with them beating the Bills. And yeah, that game against Buffalo, that got really tight and close at the end to the point where, the Bills almost came back and won that game. And they were very fortunate that Josh Allen missed that wide open throw to Khalil Shakir in the end zone going for that 2-point conversion. They should have just went for the tie, and then they were doing pretty good in overtime. Whatever, we'll get to the Bills here. But I'm gonna just go with the Eagles, bro. Like, they're the team that's going to be they're the better team. They're division winners. They're setting themselves up to make another deep playoff run. It's not going to be easy for them this time around like it was last year for them, because they were clear cut the best team in the NFC, along with Detroit. But this is not going to be as easy for them moving forward going into this upcoming playoffs. But I do trust them to win this game pretty easily.
Ooh. So the Eagles are starting Tanner McKee week 18 against the Washington Commanders instead of Jalen Hurts.
I will take it still.
Okay, well, you're still taking the Eagles. You know what? I'm not taking the Eagles. I'm taking the Commanders over the Eagles because I don't trust the Eagles as far as they can fly. They might be our nation's bird, but they ain't representing like they're our nation's bird. I'm taking the Commanders over the Eagles. I still did something stupid, Justin. I don't care.
Well, look. Well, hold on. So based off of that news, I didn't know that they were resting their starters and starting their backups. I'm still going to take the Eagles though, regardless. Plus, I don't care about. It's the spirit of being different, whatever. But that still locks them in, I guess, to the 3 seed then, because the number 4 seed, we know that's going to go to the NFC South champion, whether that's the Bucks or the Panthers. The number 1 seed has a chance to be the winner of the NFC West. The number 2 and 3 seed. No, the number 2 seed. Okay, the NFC North. The Bears, which the Bears already beat the Eagles, so they don't have a chance to improve their playoff seed. And so, yeah, okay, I get it. The Eagles are already firmly placed in that number 3 seed.
Yep.
They are just keeping their eye strictly set on who's coming out as the number 6 seed. And by the looks of it, it could potentially be the Los Angeles Rams.
Right.
It could be the Rams again. Because if it's the Rams, I think that they're setting themselves up for success then at this point, just resting their starters, not going all out. They already know that they're the 3 seed. The Rams are the team that has to come back to Philly and play. It'll be so deja vu because those two teams played each other a year apart during the playoffs last year. So yeah, no, I can see it. I can see it. I get it now. But I still think the Eagles beat the Commanders, even with their backups.
Fair enough. Screw the Eagles. Screw you too, Austin Art, you damn Eagles fan. Anyways, next one up. The Dolphins versus.
Nope. We already talked about
it. All right. My bad. If you want to see who we picked for the Dolphins and the Patriots, go back to the very beginning of the show when I had an old man moment and thought that was the first game for the Saturday. I was wrong. But let's go on to the 3-13 Jets versus the 11-5 Bills. 37.5 over under, 7.5 point spread. I'm not wasting time on this game. The Bills are going to beat the shit out of the Jets. Justin, who are you taking?
I would love to see the Jets pull off an upset victory, just because I haven't been impressed with the way that the Bills been playing on offense altogether. I understand and I respect James Cook and Josh Allen, of course. Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid has been good. But I just don't like how the Bills have been looking on offense. They're just led by the rushing attack. Yeah. But I still love the Bills to beat the Jets in this game. So let me just give it to the Bills. Again, they got to still hold on to that 5 seed. It's not out of the woods that they can fall to the 6 seed because the Texans and the Chargers we already know are resting their starters, so we already got them getting that ass beat against the Broncos. So they're out of the 5 seed grabs. But the 6 seed, they got to make sure that they stay afloat. If the Bills get the 6 seed, when they are firmly placed in the 5th seed, and that puts them right into the grasp of whoever plays the AFC North, wins the AFC North. They got to see Buffalo round 1. The Texans.
So from what I'm looking at right now, according to the playoff bracket as of today, they have the Texans 5 seed, Pittsburgh 4, Chargers 6, Jacksonville 3, Bills 7, and New England 2. But if the Chargers lose and the Bills win, wouldn't that move them up to the 6th seed to play the Jacksonville Jaguars?
That will put them at the 6th seed, and that'll put them on the road to the number 3 seed.
Which would be Jacksonville.
Which could be Jacksonville, but if Jacksonville's still getting that, they can still get the 2 seed too. But I think that ultimately at the end of the day, they could just be put to going on the road at Jacksonville. So I'm wrong. So maybe not firmly the 5th seed, but the 6th seed. But they still have a chance at the 5th seed if Houston somehow stumbles and loses to the Colts, which I don't see that happening. But at the end of the day, it's still the Bills still need to win this game. They just got to win this game, and I think that they will win this game.
Yep. All right. Next one up, the Lions 8-8 versus the 11-5 Bears in Chicago. 50.5 over under, a 3-point game. Man, Justin, who you picking?
Bears. I'm not even wasting my time.
He's like Bears.
Bears. Lions, stick a fork in them. They're done. Last week's loss was their stick a fork in them loss. Well, when they lost against the Vikings, but last week's loss was stick a fork in them. You are done for the year, and Yeah, pretty simple for me, man. I'm going with Chicago.
You don't think Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions are
Nope.
trying to play spoilers?
Nope. It's
just
over. It's over.
done. All right.
It's done. I don't. It and here's the thing too, because a lot of Bengals fans point at the Lions as, well, we need to be more like them. Well, the Lions were actually trying to be more like us, if you recall, because
Yeah.
when we had our success, then after that they had their success for those 2 years. They've petered out, and now they got to readjust and recapture. Look, I believed in them throughout most of the season. I still love their offense. They're a machine on offense, but yeah, this team, they need some work. And the Chicago Bears, man, they ain't going nowhere. And the Bears look like they still got to be able to play for playoff position in 2, because they still got to lock down that number 2 seed over Philly, even though I know what I said before, that they already beat the Eagles, so they should naturally have that playoff, that 2 seed improved.
Right.
But yeah, man, like I'm going with Chicago, bro. That's a pretty easy one for me.
All right, well, I'm going to go with the Bears as well, because why not? You know, the Bears have been playing. They've been playing great football all year long. You know, if you guys watch this show, you guys know I don't care for Caleb Williams, but you know that coach has done wonders, and Caleb Williams has really matured, and you know it's just he still has happy feet, but I just I think the Bears it's gonna be a difficult playoff when the Bears get in there, believe it or not. I believe with this NFC playoff slot, you know, this whole bracket over here on the NFC side, it's going to be some snot-nosed gladiator freaking football over there. It's going to be some good football. I believe we're going to see better football on the NFC side or the NFC side than we are on the AFC side. But I'm picking the Bears.
100% agree.
Yeah, so I'm picking the Bears over the Lions. Go ahead, Justin.
No, I 100% agree. And also, the Bears need to get their get back, because folks don't remember week 2 or week 3 early in the year. The Lions is pretty much just manhandled Chicago like it was nothing, because there was questions as far as, can Dan Campbell and his offense look as good as when Ben Johnson was there. And then they took the Bears to the woodshed earlier this year. Now the Bears get a chance to get their get back here. And I think that they're not going to want to miss out on that. That's another reason I'm picking the Bears.
Yeah, I agree with you. Next one up in the final game, AFC North game. Who's going to win the AFC North? We have the 8-8 Ravens going into Pittsburgh 9-7. You know, I know a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans. A lot of them have given up hope for the Steelers. I hear Lamar Jackson's back. He's going to be playing this Sunday. I'm picking the Ravens. Like I said I'm picking the Ravens over the Steelers. But anyways, like I said on Tuesday, you know, I wish both teams could lose, and you know, none of them get to go play in the playoffs. But you know, with Lamar Jackson, you know, he hasn't been the same. You know, I think Lamar Jackson has plateaued, not just because of injuries, but I just think he's plateaued. That team has dealt with a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. And they really haven't found their true number 2 wide receiver, but they have King Henry running the damn football. He's a big dude. And I love King Henry. I've always been a fan of his since he was with the Titans. But I just think that the Steelers don't have what it takes. That offense has been barely getting by all year long. Oh, yeah, I know you guys signed Aaron Rodgers. Well, you don't have DK Metcalf. I almost called him by his government name, but I didn't want him to come over here and slap me. But, you know, they don't have DK Metcalf. I know they've been dealing with some injuries on their own. They just lost Mount Washington. He broke his hand or arm or whatever the hell it was. I know TJ Watt's going to be playing, but I'm sure he's probably going to be in some kind of limited role because of his lung. You know, his coming back from his lung puncture. But I'm picking the Ravens and over the Steelers, even though I don't want any of the teams to win, because Ravens fans are awful. They're awful. Steelers fans think, you know, then you have the Steelers fans, and hey, Afton, nothing against you, but there are some Steelers fans that I've grown up with me being a Bengals fan, living in Ohio, a lot of Steelers fans in Ohio, in my household as well. I had to deal with Steelers fans my whole entire life. They always, tell us, oh, we got so many Super Bowls back in the 70s, and you got one, in the 2000s, and but some of you fans are awful, and the Ravens fans are awful. But I'm picking the Ravens over the Steelers. Justin, I'm gonna stop babbling on. Who the hell are you taking?
Ravens fans are awful. Steeler fans are entitled. That's the best way how I describe them both. I don't like
True.
either one.
I like that's even better. I like that.
In terms of this game, I am sorry to say this, but I feel like that this is the classic Mike Tomlin victory here. They're going to win the AFC North. And you know what? I want them to win the AFC North because I still don't believe that the Ravens have what it takes to pull off winning the AFC North 3 straight years in a row. As much as people want to say this and that and the third about the Steelers, and you are absolutely correct of all of the stuff that you said and a lot of people have said about this Steelers team, they're not a team that I do not believe in at all. But another team that I don't believe in when it comes to playing at Pittsburgh is Baltimore.
True.
Just look at the record, okay? Yeah. The record speaks largely for itself. They don't beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. They just don't. There's only really one quarterback that has shown the ability to do that, and that's been Joe Burrow. The Browns can't beat Pittsburgh in Heinz Field / Acrisure. Baltimore can't beat them in Heinz Field / Acrisure unless we're talking about the Joe Flacco in his prime era. Lamar Jackson has not had a great outing here. I don't think he's won in Pittsburgh ever. I think since his second year, that 2019 MVP season. And even then, you can also make an argument that they shouldn't even won that game. This is the game that I feel like to me that they're going to be carried by Aaron Rodgers, not because of his talent, but his presence alone. He's still a future Hall of Famer. And I think the old wily vets like Cam Hayward, and yes, TJ Watt, although I know he's beat up a little bit, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, and Aaron Rodgers, I think that they're, and Mike Tomlin being the old wily vet of a head coach, getting them to a victory here to win the AFC North in their house on Sunday night in prime time. You also got to recall, too, winning division games on the road in the AFC North in prime time feels like it's damn near impossible. It's almost like a death sentence. For the Bengals to be able to do it earlier this year, and twice actually this year against the Ravens and Steelers, is beyond impressive and beyond imaginative, because that's more of like Joe Burrow and how he does things versus a thing. Like, it's just not a thing that just happens. That's why I'm going with the Steelers in this game. I don't believe in the Steelers at all. Like, they could win the playoff game in the first round, especially if they're going against Houston, but I don't believe in them against that Houston defense neither. But I think that they have enough energy to get them up for this game, for it to be one of those slug it out, grind it out AFC North classics like you've always seen it before, and they win the game. So let me go with Pittsburgh in this one. Doesn't mean I feel great about it. I don't like picking either one of these two teams at all. But I think that's where my feelings tend to lie here when I think about this game and analyze this game. Now, they're going to have trouble stopping Derrick Henry. They haven't been great at stopping Derrick Henry in the past. But again, weird shit happens in Pittsburgh for some reason for this Baltimore Ravens team. It happened last year when they played each other in Pittsburgh, and that was with Derrick Henry and company. Derrick Henry, though, man, he's one of those guys, and I saw it last week against the Packers. When he gets going and you formulate a game plan around him, dog, he is tough to stop. He is really tough. He can run against the best front fours in any of, honestly, of all time, for real. He's just that kind of a dude. So, yeah, the Steelers are going to have their work cut off for them. I believe so. But I think that they have enough to notch a win over here.
Yeah, and you give valid explanation there why you're picking the Steelers, and I understand it. Mine might be a little bit more hate towards the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know. I think it's because a lot of my friends are Steelers fans, and
I hate them too.
Got to hear the. I guess if I had the equal amount of Ravens fans and Steelers fans chirping at me all the time, because we are Bengals fans, I think maybe I would change my mind and I'd look at it analytically and break down the X, Y, and Z and all that stuff. But You pick the Steelers, I pick the Ravens. We'll see who wins the AFC North. This is coming down. This is some awful football, though, for the AFC North, too, though, which is just it's disgusting. It really is.
Like I said, if you're the 5 seed, and then we can actually roll into final thoughts here. That's why I said, man, if you're the 5 seed in the AFC, yeah, you are fighting like hell to get that spot because you want to go against one of these two teams in the playoffs. Now, I get it. Lamar, you said that he's plateaued, and you still got to watch out for him in his athleticism because there's still a lot of teams that just don't know how to play Lamar. Even though he doesn't look like the same MVP Lamar of last year, the 2 years ago, and last year's Lamar, this is not the same Lamar Jackson that we've seen over the last couple of years. He's not the 2-time MVP that we've been accustomed to seeing. But he's still Lamar Jackson, and he's still a very dangerous weapon out there, especially when he's healthy and he's feeling like that. He's got some noise to kind of cancel out here. And so that's always going to be dangerous territory. But at the end of the day, man, you're not scared of the Ravens. You're just not. You're not scared of the Steelers. You're just not. So if you are trying to jockey for the 5 position, the 5 seed, if you're the Texans, or if you're the Chargers or the Bills, yeah, go for it, man. Like you trying to be like, oh, I want that team in the first round because don't get me wrong, man. Weird stuff happens against AFC North opponents to where it's like, man, it's the playoffs. It is what it is. But it's not impossible. It's not out of the realm of possibility that you can just walk in that trap and take over that trap and beat their ass for real. So that's kind of like my final thoughts, man, there as we close out this Week 18 season, man, going right into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's just, and you're right. Weird shit happens in Pittsburgh. I don't know why. Like one thing that we always joke around about is does Pittsburgh have that like voodoo magic going on over there? What's going on? Like, how does stuff happen? Like if it's the Cincinnati Bengals, we don't get that lucky shit to happen on our end of the ball ever. Ever. Look at our past games. Playing against the damn, the Rams in the Super Bowl. Voodoo magic went to the Rams. Look at our battles with Kansas City. Voodoo magic went to Kansas City a couple times. It's just like, but hey, you know what? It's great to be a Bengals fan and an NFL fan. I won my fantasy football league. This season really gave me the opportunity to focus on not just the Cincinnati Bengals, but also everybody else. And this platform here, also gave me that opportunity as well. That being said, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching, for listening. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share with your friends, your family. Share us. We're not just a Cincinnati Bengals podcast. We're all, actually our whole crew, very knowledgeable across the whole NFL, not just Cincinnati Bengals. So, if you want to come and watch, share us. We appreciate you guys. But other than that, you guys have a great weekend. Today.